Greetings everybody and welcome to the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage YouTube channel. I have now the new owner of a machine that I purchased recently, and this of course I purchased for the purpose of overhauling, restoring, and finding a new owner. For those of you who have watched my channel before, you might have an idea of what machine is actually in this carrying case hiding behind the cover. Or maybe if you're new to the channel, you may also have an idea. But of course, you can never assume. If you ever buy a sewing machine on an auction and they don't actually show the machine, they just show the cover, you really don't know what you're going to get necessarily. Because sewing machines over the years will sometimes lose their original tables and cases and end up getting put into other cases or tables. But this machine is what some of you are guessing it is. And I will do the honors of taking the top off. And of course, it is the venerable Singer 99. In this particular instance, it is a Singer 99K. That means that this machine was made in the United Kingdom. And even though it was made there, it is perfectly suitable to be used in North America. And the reason for that, of course, is that Singer had production plants around the world, and they would often end up with certain production runs. And if they needed to ship a machine somewhere else, they could easily do so. And of course, they would attach the electricals, by that I mean the motor and the cords and so forth, and the foot pedal. Those would all be North American. And of course, they had those. So I have restored quite a few of these, and it is one of my favorite machines to restore. And I say that because, well, they are little workhorses. I call it the tractor of the sewing world, or one of the tractors anyway. It is similar to the Singer 185 models that are often shown in sort of a pistachio green color, and those were the successors to the 99. And to be honest, it's the same machine, only with a few changes to the body and the color and so forth. And the bobbin winder was slightly different, but it's basically the same machine mechanically. Now, of course, the 99 was created as the lightweight, and I say that tongue-in-cheek. It was a 3/4 version of the Singer 66. In fact, it has the same bobbin system. It has basically everything the same as the 66, only it's not as wide. And of course, many of these were sold in carry cases. You could get Singer tables. They had tables that fit this smaller dimension of the bed. But of course, many of these were sold in cases, and they were sold as portables. It's portable like a bowling ball, but that's a good thing. I'm not making fun of it because they are just incredibly strong machines. In fact, I would imagine it's a fair assessment to say that the 99 is just as powerful as the 66, only again in not quite a wide package. Now, I purchased this machine, and honestly, I'm trying to remember if I purchased it. I may have gotten it in a thrift store or from someone selling it online. I actually don't remember, to be honest. I've gotten distracted and just now refocusing on this particular machine. Now, the cases these machines came in were very strong, and they were covered in grass cloth. And here you can actually see the cloth has basically come unglued. I think you can see it if I can give you a good enough camera angle. And I'll probably just use some adhesive and put it back. Someone apparently, I don't know how they did this, got a drip of paint on the outside. Fortunately, the machine was covered, and the machine is in very lovely shape. Most of the machine has really lovely shine to the Singer finish, which I believe was some form of black paint, enameled, and then I think it was coated with what you and I might call shellac or something similar to that. Now, when I bought the machine, I just did, a very basic test. I just moved, and I could say, well, my needle moves when I move the hand wheel. That doesn't mean it's ready to sew by any means. The plate, this is the bobbin plate, was actually sitting here backwards and on loose. Now, this often happens with any Singer 66 Singer 99, Singer 185K, or Singer 185. And the reason has to do with how the plates are installed. These plates are designed to come off when you want to do maintenance, but I will show in a later video, and I've shown this before, but for those of you who are new to this machine, it actually installs on a sort of a butterfly spring, I call it. And it's not hard, it's just a little wonky to put on. And honestly, sometimes you find these machines, including their 66 big brothers, and they're missing the plate. And they're missing the plate because the plate came off. Whoever had it couldn't figure out how to get it back on. They made likely were not the original owner, didn't have the manual. Fortunately, you can get replacements, but this is the original plate. Thankfully, it is here. And let's see what we've got here. Let's do a little inspection. One of the things you'll notice, I have, of course, my Singer button-style foot pedal. It looks very nice outside, but of course, I'll be opening it up to inspect it, clean it, make sure that it's functioning properly. These foot pedals are fairly durable, but that doesn't mean they can't be broken. When I shake it, I don't hear anything rattling around inside. You want to make sure that the porcelain inside has not been cracked. I have no reason to think this one is, but we'll always check to be sure. At some point, it was rewired with a white cord, which doesn't bother me so much as this does. Now, when it was rewired, they used the original cord. In fact, this machine still has the original cord. And as much as I like things that are original, this cord has, it's still somewhat flexible, but do not assume that the cord is good. You have to be careful. Sometimes the inside rubber insulation on the two wires can actually crack. And then this is sort of a large, those two coated wires are then covered in this, what's called a jacket, I think, this overall wrapping. What else do you see here? You see electrical tape. Electrical tape is something that is like a temporary patch. I never consider it to be permanent. I don't like it, and I won't be using it. What will I be doing? Well, if you look here, you'll see that this cord, you can see the two wires, and if I peel this back, you'll see them. And if you look extra close, what do we see? Look right there, we have exposed wire. Now that exposed wire was not touching, it was touching this other wire that's insulated. And so I can only assume someone was sewing with this, but this is a no-no. In fact, I will not plug the machine in. Why would I do that? Why would I want to take a chance? I see exposed wires, I don't like it. Fortunately, reproduction plugs and cords are made for this machine. So I have some extra in stock. And what I will basically do is give this machine a brand new cord and plug. It doesn't cost very much, and it just, it just doesn't make sense to take chances like that. If you ever get any electrical item, sewing machine or otherwise, always inspect it. Lamps, anything. Cords don't, they can last a long time, but you never know. You don't know how they were treated. And of course, this is a place where the cord would bend as someone was moving around. But anyway, overall, I'm quite happy with what I see here. I see one or two nicks on the bed, and it looks like something may have been dropped on it. But the rest of the machine looks fine. I'll be doing some touch-up there with my black touch-up paint. I'll do a video on that as well. And but the rest of the paint is really lovely. And I have noticed over the years that machines that were sold in carry cases, they sometimes ended up with an easier time of it because they were protected from a lot of the dust and grime that could kick up on a machine when it was stored in a table. Now, the most interesting thing of all that I see here that is really actually rare, the machine's not rare. These machines were made in large numbers. They are not difficult to find, but what is odd is what I'm going to show you now. I'm tilting the machine towards you. Do you see that little red area there? I have made videos in the past where I have gone in and had to replace the original wick. This is the red wick that was installed in these machines, the 66, the 99s, the 185s. And the reason they had this, all right, now that I zoomed in, let's give you a better angle so you can actually see something here. Okay, this is a wick. Sometimes people would rip them out and remove them because they thought it was lint. No, the wick is here and you add oil to it. And what that does is it actually lubricates the race. You can see as the shuttle moves, you want that because where's my little pointer here? Right here, if you notice, this is the bobbin case. That's obviously the bobbin. The bobbin is sitting in the bobbin case. If you notice, the bobbin case does not move, right? When I turn the hand wheel, right, you see the shuttle moving, but you don't see the bobbin case moving. So obviously there needs to be lubrication there. And yes, if you don't have this, don't panic. You can always just put a few drops of oil and oil it occasionally. But the wick was designed to save time, to save people from having to do that every time they sewed. What is unusual is that it's here. Now, what does that mean? Could it have been replaced in the past? Maybe. I'm going to take another guess. I'm going to imagine that this machine didn't get used very much and they never wore the wick out and it's still there. And I just think that's super cool. I'm very excited to see that. I almost never see it. So you never know, right? You see a machine that looks common, and it is, but that doesn't mean that there aren't surprises. And in this case, that's a nice surprise. Sometimes you get other surprises like the exposed cord I just showed you. But again, that's going to be an easy fix. Why? Because it's a Singer. And of all the brands I have ever worked on, Singers are the simplest to find either vintage parts or new reproduction parts for. And the parts generally are not that costly for the most part. So anyway, you are looking at the Singer 99K. Of course, it has a serial number. It's right here on this lovely plate. And of course, this machine was in production many, many years. And in fact, when they first created it, it didn't have this. It had a way to adjust the stitch length, but you didn't have reverse. But of course, later they would add back tacking, which this machine has. Wow, talk about fancy features. I know modern sewing machines, you wouldn't think going in reverse would be fancy, but once upon a time, getting to have automatic reverse in a sewing machine was a big deal. I know it seems kind of quaint to think of it that way. But anyway, you see this machine is just calling out for being overhauled. And again, if you like sewing machines that are portable, somewhat heavy but portable, and you don't have a lot of space, you can still have one heck of a strong machine. So I'll be showing more of this machine as I go forward in its restoration. So stay tuned for that. And if any of you watching this video have a Singer 99 or a Singer 66 or a 185, whether it says K on it or not, chime down there in the comments and let me know what you think of your machine. And does your machine still have its red felt wick? Thanks you everyone for watching. I will see you in the next video.